Listen here. I don't care what they say. Your family can be crap too. Your friends can be crap too. But all over, all the people you be around, some can be good, some can be bad. And connections are very important. On this episode here, I just want to tell you and talk with you on why you have to be aware of the people you talk to, but mainly the importance of connections. I always grew up on the saying that like your family will always be there for you, your friends will never be there for you. That's how it always been in my household, how I always was raised, especially from my parents, especially as I'm older now. And this episode just came by the inspiration of me talking with my parents yesterday about this topic, how friends won't be there for you, but family will be there for you. And how we shouldn't look down on family members, or how we shouldn't be so aggressive towards them. We should tell them the truth when they're right, but just don't dodge them or leave them permanently. But for me, and maybe for you, it's not always like that. Some relatives, depending on your circumstances, if you're dealing with this, they may be jerks. Some relatives you may just have to completely cut off, just like if you cut off a friend. And for me personally, especially as a Christian, I don't believe in the fact that like everybody's going to be good in life. I believe that some people will be wicked and turn your back on you, and that maybe, just maybe, God may have to take you away from certain relatives or certain friends to get better into what you need to do. And it's true. And I don't depend on nobody. I really depend on God the most. But in my perspective, I always see it that like friends can treat you sometimes way more better than family, depending on the situation. And for me personally, the reason why I agree on that is because of the fact that most of my friends are like family. Comparing to my family, it's always been not wars, but always been like little in-between fights every now and then. But and not fights as in physical fights, like verbal or mental, but it's not all that much no more. It's getting better. I would say from my mom's side, because that's the side I usually be around the most, and that's the side I'm really speaking about. But I don't want to get too personal in my life here, but just that when you deal with people that are having limited beliefs and don't want to see the other person grow, you gotta sometimes get away from that. If you see your mom, your dad, even if they love you, if they're forcing you to do something you don't like, and everybody like to use this example, college. If they're forcing you to go to college, but you really want to pursue your dream into being a content creator, go do it. I mean, heck, my grandma, my aunt, they didn't support me when I first started podcasting. They had just liked and say, oh, it's just a side hustle. It seems more like just that something you would do on the side. My mom thought it was crazy. I want to go full time with that. My dad didn't even know what the heck it was. But now they're all supporting me. And my mom was the first one to realize she was wrong. And sometimes from that story, I just want you to know, sometimes even relatives may not support what you do. And it don't have to necessarily be your goals and dreams. It's just things you do. You may not see eye to eye with them, because even till this day, I'd rather talk with some of my friends or my so-called homeboys more than my mom, because I'll see eye to eye with them better than I may see eye to eye with my mother. Because my mother may have a limiting belief, or she may believe differently because she was raised in a different time than me. And it's not even about time zones or when you were raised, it's just the awareness, the perspective, and the fellowship, and the connection you have. That's what matters the most. Because even in family members, it's natural connection probably, but with friends, it's two individuals who came together in fellowship. But sometimes there can be clashes too, especially if you're in fellowship. Because I've had a friend once, and he was at my former high school. He used to always act up and down with me. One minute he would want to talk, one minute he didn't want to talk. And then lately too, I asked him about a shoe. He told me he wanted to buy a shoe that was $200. I got the picture up there right there. He bought that instead of trying to buy my $50 shoe from my brand, which is down below. And it's crazy. You're probably saying, well, Bernie, he may not want that shoe, may not want that shoe, XYZ, but be honest, that shoe is ugly, number one. Number two, he said himself that he would support my brand by buying shorts and shirts. Yes, he didn't say shoes, but he's always trying to support when he's ready to act like he's supporting. And now, I just really cut him off. If he ever want to talk, we can talk again, but I'm not going to be all friendship, all, yo, you're my bro. No, because you've done enough. And that was the final straw with the shoe situation. And sometimes you may have friends like that because they may act like they support you, but then they don't. And then especially if it's the last minute, they will try to act like that. So then when you get famous, they'll be like, oh, I was there when he got famous. And not even that. Just if you get into what you're doing growing, they'll say, I was there at first, When in reality, what the heck, you were saying you were there first and you weren't. I deal with that with my relatives too. Oh, I was there when you first started. Yeah, you were there. Some of them relatives, of course, not all of them. As a negative force. And eventually you became positive. There's always a cause and effect when you interact with people. And it happens to you, but also happens to them, the cause and the effect. You gotta make sure the cause is right so that it can give a positive effect. Because if it's a negative cause, it's gonna give a negative effect. It's just like a good example, which is simple: crime and charity. Charity, you're giving money away to help people. Crime, you're stealing money for yourself. Some people may steal to give out to their family, I don't know. But most likely when you're doing crime, you're usually getting the money just to steal because you don't want to work or do nothing. And that relates back to the cause and effect method. You got to know who to talk to and who has the right intentions and cause for you to have a good positive effect in your life. Figure out, because if it's unlimiting belief, they're good. If it's limiting belief, they're not good. Not saying that limiting belief is a bad thing, because you do need people that can criticize you, but when they're just overly criticizing you, or just jealous, or just mad, or just angry, what the heck are you even talking with them for? They're just there to criticize you, to make you feel hurt and not help you. And then going back to piggyback, there are some people that are there to help you as well. You just have to know who to interact with. That's why connections are so important, because if you talk to the wrong person, depending on what it is, they can say something that's really enticing and live rent-free in your head, and then boom, you overthinking. Or another scenario, you be around the wrong friend or relative to get you to the wrong thing, then boom. Like how my generation, Gen Z, say, you're cooked. Or maybe you might be dead. Or you could be exposed on the internet with this internet age we live in as of 2024, as this recording. So, with all that being said, I just want you to be aware of who you're talking to. Be aware of who you interact with and who you call your real supporter, or your real friend, your real spouse, or even your real relative. What your relative is real, but your real relative. That one that's there for you no matter what. That doesn't just say, oh, we're related, but I don't really care about you. No. And if you have any comments, any questions, anything to say, please put them down below in the comments. Please reply if you're listening to this on audio as well. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button. My name is Brendan Brown. Thank you.